This is Milwaukee, with a population of around 560,000 people and a metro population of around 1.5 million. It is easily the largest city in the state of Wisconsin and the 31st largest city in the United States. Milwaukee is in the heart of the upper Midwest on the western shores of Lake Michigan, just about a 2-hour drive from Chicago without taking traffic into account. In 2018, Milwaukee built a streetcar downtown called the Hop. This video sets out to answer what exactly is it and why is it here. Like I just mentioned, the Hop is a streetcar in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. It runs on just about 2.1 miles of track through downtown and hits popular Milwaukee destinations like the Milwaukee Public Market, Milwaukee Intermodal Train Station, Milwaukee School of Engineering Campus, City Hall, and the historic 3rd Ward. The M line is the main line and mostly runs north to south, while the recently opened L line is a small line that runs with the M line but then branches off to service 3 more stations. The southernmost station at the end of the M line is a short walk from Milwaukee Intermodal Train Station. The station is a few blocks from downtown, so the Hop is an excellent transit connection that goes straight to the center of the city for folks coming off the train at Intermodal. This is convenient for passengers of the Hiawatha Amtrak line between Milwaukee and Chicago, which has 7 daily round-trip trains between the 2 major cities. It is also practical for passengers of the Borealis trains, which run between Chicago and Minneapolis through Milwaukee. Amtrak is going to expand this service this month from 1 daily train to 2 daily trains between St. Paul and Chicago. So we'll see more passenger train traffic through Intermodal Station in Milwaukee. The Hop is hardly the first streetcar to run through Milwaukee, just the first modern one to be built in the 21st century. In the United States and Canada, streetcars were the best way to get around the city before the car. The first streetcars were horse-drawn, but were later electrified in the 1890s, like this picture of Wisconsin Avenue in the 1920s. Many streetcar lines around the US and Canada were torn down following World War II because more people preferred to drive and to make room for the car. The ones that stayed after World War II, like New Orleans and San Francisco, have since become symbols of their cities. Many of these streetcar lines were also torn down to make way for buses as well, which could go anywhere because they didn't need tracks. Milwaukee has all this history with streetcars, but the last one was torn down in the 1950s, so why would the city want to build a new one? Well, there's been a nationwide resurgence since the early 2000s to build new streetcars in American cities. Dozens of American cities have invested in streetcars for the last 25 years, like Portland, Oregon in 2001, Salt Lake City in 2013, Detroit in 2017, and many other cities since the early 2000s. It seems to me that Milwaukee is simply just following a trend set by other big cities. Of the streetcars to come out of this new trend, Portland, Oregon streetcar from 2001 seems to be the most successful in the United States. And overall, of all the streetcar networks across the US and Canada, Toronto in Canada seems to be the best when it comes to ridership. So, let's compare them. Here on this table, we can see the city, the year the streetcar was built, weekday ridership, track length, amount of streetcar lines, and metro populations of each of the cities. Clearly, Toronto is the outlier in this group with such a high weekday ridership count. This can be attributed to the amount of people in the city, amount of lines, overall track lengths, and how long streetcars have stayed in Toronto. Toronto didn't tear down all their streetcars in the second half of the 20th century like many other cities, and it paid off for them. For all the cities in this table, the more track and amount of line running, the higher weekday ridership, and this makes total sense. More track means more areas and neighborhoods of the city being serviced, but there is risk involved with any type of investment like a streetcar. A new line in Milwaukee is expensive and people may not ride it. This would cost the city a lot of money and be seen as a failed investment. For Portland's case, they saw more development and housing units around the streetcar stations. The streetcar was a good investment into the city and can be an example for other planned streetcar networks in the country. It is just as important for the streetcar to have a strong ridership as it is for the streetcar systems to connect people to the place they want to go. That is kind of the whole point of a transit network that is built to move people, either to go to work, to go shopping, or wherever someone may need the transport for. A good tell if a transit network goes to destinations where people live, work, or play is to look at the land use around the stations. I'm not a traffic engineer, transit engineer, or an urban planner, but Typically, good land use around an inner city transit station is appropriate density like apartment buildings and businesses near the station to encourage ridership. No one would take the hop if it didn't run near where people lived, work, or wanted to go. For the hop, there are a few stations that raise some eyebrows. St. Paul at Plankinton is a station on the M line on the south end of the line. The station is right next to a freeway exit ramp, some parking lots, and a couple businesses. I understand it's difficult for the city to build the streetcar in places where they'll get ridership when there's a massive urban freeway dividing the city. But for a streetcar line to make sense, it must go places people want to go or places where people live, and there really isn't much going on here. The streetcar could be the investment in this part of the city to encourage development around the station here. According to a report by the Portland, Oregon government, the Tacoma streetcar in Washington has seen more than 2,000 housing units built around the streetcar line. But 6 years since the hop opened, the land use around St. Paul and Plankinton hasn't improved. For the streetcar to run where most people are or will be, like the stadium where the Bucks play, Summerfest, the Discovery Center, the Art Museum, or even American Family Field. The hop is a modern, futuristic look for the city. It shows people that Milwaukee is the place to live because we have a modern-looking electric train running through our city. Buses simply don't give that same impression that a streetcar would. Although when it comes to capacity, the streetcar and bus are very similar, and they both get stuck in traffic, the streetcar is a fancy, new public transportation vessel that may interest the public more than a bus. It is not the most efficient transit project the city could have built, but it is one of the cheaper new transit options that would encourage new development in the city. If the city really wanted to increase connectivity, I think they would have invested money into a different kind of project and not the streetcar. The hop's website page even says that the hop is here to enhance Milwaukee's cool factor and to retain and attract business investments in the city. The hop is a transit project not meant to move people around efficiently, affordably, and reliably, but instead to attract new developments to the city. The hop is a modern electric streetcar in Milwaukee, which runs on the street with cars, so it also gets stuck in traffic. Moving people efficiently and reliably was a secondary goal to the main goal of attracting and retaining business investments to the city. So, there you have it. That's the hop. A transit project not built for transit, but with alternative motives. All the footage was recorded by me. Google Earth was used extensively and was an excellent tool for looking at the route from above, and much of this information came from the hop's very own website. Thank you for watching.